there was trash everywhere.
Yeah.
But there was a piece of trash up in the tree.
It's a marker.
This is the invasion of Iraq in 03. It's chaotic, brother.
These are military operations. Disarm Iraq to free its people.
Cobras are hitting everything left and right. Wham, 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 wham. There's incoming and outgoing, and we are stuck. It was a Special Forces soldier's dream. There was so much going on, and the rules of engagement were simply this: hostile act or hostile intent.
So these are the things that normal people don't understand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But if you want to be in a town like Fallujah, you ain't there for the scenery, and you certainly ain't there for the pork pies.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I was experiencing PTSD. I didn't want to be dominated in any way. Even in the civilian world, I thought it was still war. It's one thing to be an athlete fighter. It's one thing to be a warrior.
Yeah.
But if you really walk that warrior path, eventually you're gonna have to kill.
Okay, this week's debrief. I don't need to introduce this geezer because he introduces himself. Look, it's Rudy. Come on, here he is.
Hey, brother.
You all right, buddy? You good?
I'm doing fantastic.
Superb. Look, it's good to have you here. Do you live in the UK now, do you?
Well, you know what? In some ways, I got a home here because with SAS, Who Dares Wins.
Yeah.
And then the American Special Forces World's Toughest Test. It's all produced by Minnow. So I'm in and out of London. I'm in and out of London a lot, but this time was so special for me because it was Billy's surprise 60th birthday.
Yeah, there you go.
And it was up in Hereford where he lives. And he had no idea me and my mate Matt were coming. And this is the first time I've been to Hereford, brother. And I did the penny fan yesterday. I checked out the compound, and then I went to the cemetery. It was really
there you go.
awesome.
You got St. Martin's. You've done that. You've had the whistle stop tour of Hereford.
Yes, and then went to the Barrels. You know that little pub. Yeah,
I know the Barrels, mate.
Yeah, we were at Barrels.
I know the Barrels too well.
Okay, it was awesome, brother. And
Yeah,
you know,
good.
it's one thing doing London, but there's so much more to the UK than London.
Yeah, absolutely there is. Yeah. I think people sometimes sort of like London's the focal point, but actually London's nothing compared with what's the rest of the country's about. Listen, I'm going to debrief you today. Okay. I'm going to get your life story out of you. I'm going to squeeze you, pinch you, and we're going to see what we can produce, all right? So listen,
bro.
Tell me about little Rudy. Where are you from, mate? What's your backstory?
My family is Mexican-American from the border of Texas and Mexico.
Okay.
And but I was born in Kansas City, Missouri, the center of the country, because we have a contingent of Mexican Americans that live there.
Okay.
Because of the beef industry and the cattle industry. We used to work there, right? About 100 years ago, we started going up there.
Okay.
And my father was a Marine, and he was in Vietnam. My mother went up north to visit family.
Wow. Did he give you stories about that sort of stuff? Did he tell you
yes,
about it?
Yeah, yes. Oh, and you know, I feel I would find out later. I've got two fathers. My biological father's a Marine too. The man that gave me my name, Rodolfo Reyes, Rudy Reyes.
Yeah.
That is who I consider dad. Both have passed on, but my dad is Rudy Reyes Sr. And when I found out I had a different father, I never thought about changing my name. I've got one daddy, and that's Rudy Reyes Sr. And boy, you want to talk about a proud father when I joined the forces. You want to talk about a proud father when I went through selection and made it to Recon. I was married at the time, Phil, and I'd always go see my dad before I'd go home to my wife after my courses.
Wow, okay.
And I'd give him my
So
T-shirts.
massive influence on you, your dad.
Oh, man, it's everything to me. Duty, honor, courage, commitment. He made such an impact. So when I was very small, my dad was in Vietnam. I was born in Kansas City. And it was wintertime, December 3rd.
Yeah.
And my mom, Norma, she just saw like the last season of SAS, and I'm doing the icebreaker drills.
Yeah.
Yeah, going under the cold water. And she said, you know, mijo, you were born in December. It was so cold. I remember the night was miserable. You must like the cold. And she was so proud because when I come out of the water with my skis or my snow poles, I'm treading, and then Chris, my SBS brother, DS, is asking me like phonetic alphabet, and he says, your mother's maiden name, and I say Norma Quintanilla, and my mother saw that, and it made her feel so good. So yeah, between South Texas, the border, and then the hard Midwest, where we have 4 seasons, harsh cold weather, snow, humid summers, between Texas and Missouri. And my parents didn't stay together very long. My father, Rudy Reyes Sr., became a policeman. The truth is, brother, I didn't know that I had a different father. And so there was a lot of shame kind of around the family. And we were kind of traditionally Mexican-American, traditionally Catholic, and reputation and shame and all that stuff.
You say Mexican-American, is there sort of like, is there recognition for being Mexican-American? Is there sort of like, because all we hear over here is people throwing walls up over Mexico and immigration and all that sort of stuff. Was it a bigger deal as what it is now then, was it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Because you say, like, I was brought up an American and I'm Mexican, and it's like, it's no big deal, is it?
Yes, it's actually a point of pride. In our Marine Corps, forever it was Anglos, white boys, as the number one demographic of combat arms. Okay. White boys, tough white boys. By the way, we can learn a lot from my white boys. Yeah. And then next was Mexican American in combat arms. For the first time now in the Marine Corps, it's Mexican Americans. Americans of Mexicano and Latino descent are the number one in combat arms because it's a culture that you'd very much appreciate. It's family, it's honor, it's looking after your people, and we've got a certain bit of machismo about us, where we got to prove ourselves. We got to fight. Boxing culture, you know our boxers, Canelo Alvarez.
Mate, absolutely.
So there's that piece.
Some of the best boxing culture in the world.
Yeah, brother.
And the toughest fighters.
De La Hoya in his prime. An animal. And of course, my favorite is Marquez because of his lead hand work. We have that machismo in a good way, that pride that comes with testing yourself in a tough place. So I always knew, when I saw my daddy's dress blues, I saw that photograph and I was drawing it when I was 5 years old and getting the buttons right on the tunic. I knew then I wanted to be a Marine. I wanted to be like my dad. No doubt about it. And it made such an impact that even after my parents split, and I had a tough upbringing. Like I said, I didn't know that I was another, a bastard son. And I look more European. My father's Spanish and German, so taller and more European looking. And my brothers were more traditionally Mexican looking. And I always stuck out, and I always got fucked with. I always had to fight.
What were you like at school?
Oh, brother,
were you a clever kid?
I was the kid that could draw and paint really good, and I was the athlete kid. I could run the fastest. I could jump the highest. I was doing pull-ups and press-ups at freaking 3 years old. I saw Rocky Balboa. I saw Rocky at 5 years old. Saw Rocky at the theaters. And I said, that's what I want to do. And then when I saw First Blood, I said, that's what I want to do. So I was doing phys. I was doing phys from the beginning, brother.
Fizzed up.
Yes.
You stopped.
But I was gentle. I was a gentle kid, but the hard streets that we lived in, you had to be tough. And since I had two little brothers, I knew what was coming for them. So I had to model that toughness. And
did you act as a bit of a shield for your brothers?
I sure did. I sure did, brother. I sure did. We eventually were moved around in different places, different relatives, and then foster care, and then care proper. We were in a boys' home.
Yeah, you had a similar thing to me. I ended up in care proper, although from adopted parents, because I never met my real parents till later on in life.
I see.
How was the care system over there?
You know what? I look back, and it was fucking tough. But they gave me the wrestling mat. They gave me the weights. There was a little black kid named Gabe Gordon who was a boxer from Kansas City, and I was already undefeated wrestler at 90 pounds. I was fucking savage, brother. Just crushing Nebraska. Iowa and Nebraska are renowned for their wrestling. And it seems to make sense because there's so much farming out there. You got to be strong, right? But this black kid, Gabriel Gordon, he said, hey, man, you want to box? And I think I'm pretty badass, and I know how to scrap a little bit, and I'm a damn good wrestler. And he was smaller than me. I said, sure, Gabe, I'll box. Put on the gloves, but he's a proper boxer. So first that left jab, bow, got me. I was like, okay, so I started swinging wild, and he was just covering up, and then slipped one. Ding, and then caught me with the uppercut, made my lips bleed. I threw off those gloves. I'm like, let's fight,
That's it.
And he goes,
thumb in his eye.
He says, hey, I thought we was just boxing. Hey, and I realized, shit, I lost my cool, and this guy beat me fair and square because I don't know what I'm doing. So then he started coaching me. So that was the kind of dynamic environment in the boys' home. There's bigger boys all the way up to 18 years old. You know, I think I went in at 12, and I'd already been on the streets before that. It was tough, man. You had to fight for everything because there's like a rank structure.
There's a pecking order.
Absolutely.
We had a pecking order in our children's homes. You know what I mean?
Brother. Yeah, brother. That was it.
It works its own self out, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
It can't be forced. It's going to work out.
Yeah.
Depending on your bravery and what you bring to the table and how you make alliances, right? Looking back, as tough as it was, when I started fighting in the Middle East, I started fighting in Africa, and I saw what those kids have, which is nothing.
Yeah.
And then I started volunteering at an orphanage in Kenya. I was doing counter-terror and counter-poaching out there, and on the weekend I'd go teach karate to the kids. And I got money together just to get them some tennis shoes and extra cornmeal.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll tell you what.
That's a reality, isn't it?
Yeah.
Extra cornmeal.
Cornmeal.
Do you know what
and
I mean?
They were so appreciative of cornmeal.
Yeah.
Brother, I had it all. I had food, I had weights, I had coaches. I had to be good to get your privileges to compete in sport. Your marks had to be good, and we had to work the home. Shovel all the snow, run the farm, run the canteen, clean the barracks.
Yeah.
Brother, it set me up for success in life. So as tough as it was, it set me up for success in life in the way that I know that you're going to have to earn if you're going to make it. I fell in love with martial art. I fell in love with physical culture, and I just started pursuing the best I could, first in wrestling and then in kickboxing. I became a martial arts champ, kickboxing champ, trained with China's national team, beat the Russians, beat the Chinese, all the while being very, very disciplined. Because of coming up hard the way I did, and there being so much drugs and alcohol in the streets, I rebelled against it. I was super straight edge. I didn't have my first drink proper till I was 37 years old.
Wow.
I was very focused, and so I rebelled by being an athlete and a goody two-shoes, which is good, because I was trying to model that for my brothers too. And we didn't have a lot of money. When I got out of the boys' home and I graduated high school in North Kansas City, Michael and Caesar were still in the boys' home. I couldn't leave them there. So I got them out, and we lived together in the hood because that's the only place I could afford. Then my dad came back into my life. My mother had been rinsing him on child support and shit like that, and he was down in Texas, and he had his own new family. But once my dad and I got back together, he'd travel all over the country to see me fight, and he was so proud of me. And, you know, he was always asking me if I thought about joining the Marine Corps. And the truth is, Phil, it's one thing to be an athlete fighter. It's one thing to be a warrior.
Yeah.
But if you really walk that warrior path, eventually you're going to have to kill. Because it's the ultimate sacrifice is that you got to put yourself on the line.
And you've ultimately got to put yourself in a position where you could get killed.
Of course, bro.
Do you know what I mean? You can't be one-sided. You can do experience to be a warrior. You've got to understand. You've got to know what that feeling is like.
That's right,
when your mouth goes dry and you can't whistle anymore. You're like, this could go wrong here.
That's right, brother. That's right. When that fucking AK fire's coming in,
because that's when your metal shows. It's not when you're on top. Anybody can dish it out,
right,
but it's when it's on the other way. Do you know what I mean? The boot's
brother.
on the other foot. That's when you become a warrior.
It's so true, brother. And I've done some pretty rad operations, but I'll get into what I thought was one of the best little things I'd done as far as leadership and courage under fire. And it's nothing big. It's nothing sexy. It was simply when we were taking fire into our position with one of our gun trucks sinking in the Sabka, and my team leader's trying to rig it up for tow, and then the insurgents are coming over on us from me to take myself and my two mates, Chafin and Brunmeyer, and hit that berm. And at first we're running towards the fire, and then you're getting closer. Now we're weasel walking. Now you're getting closer. Now we're freaking low crawling. Now you're skull dragging. And then you crest that berm, and there they are across the street, freaking pouring fire. And I had the wherewithal, brother. I had the wherewithal because it was a fucking chaotic environment. This is the invasion of Iraq in 03. It's chaotic, brother. And, you know, Cobras are hitting everything left and right. Wham, 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 wham. There's incoming and outgoing, and we are stuck. We're fixed. And and the Shamal winds came in at this time, brother, and now the birds pulled away, and it's like soup, right? It's like maybe 2 or 3, it's like 1,500, but it's now looks like it's dusk because of the sand and the wind and the rain.
Yeah.
And I just had the wherewithal before we laid fire and killed these cats across the street. Chafin, you freaking check 9 o'clock. Budweiser, you check 3 o'clock. Because I thought, what if we get masked on the side and I don't even see it coming?
Yeah. What if you just load yourself into something?
Which is what we do sometimes because we get that target fixation.
Tunnel vision. Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah.
But I made that one little decision, and nobody flanked us. But in the middle of that freaking chaos, I had the wherewithal to check our flanks.
Yeah, to keep your head above you. But that's what it's about, isn't it? Keeping that awareness and presence of mind about even when the rest of the world's gone completely wrong.
That is what Special Forces is about, really. And of course, in the Marine Corps, and I bet it's the same in Army, we are infantrymen first. And I was an infantryman first.
Yeah.
It's the basics of infantry done at a premier level. It is that we always do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what anyone will tell you. That's what I was told when I joined Special Forces. It's the basics done well.
Yeah, brother.
Forget about dangling off ropes. Forget about falling through windows and kicking doors in.
Yep.
It's the basics done well.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean? It's that's your foundation.
That
isn't
is it. When you're freaking exhausted on your chin strap, when you're hanging out, are you still setting in your aiming stakes? Are you tying in with your positions to the left and right?
Can you still give a coherent target indication to somebody without panicking and screaming?
That's right. That's right, brother.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, brother. So I was after fighting, and I had a young wife. I wasn't making any money, so I signed up for the post office. And to get a government job in America in the 90s, you got to go through a lot of interviews, and they mostly give it to servicemen. But I guess my marks were so good and my character was good. I got the job at the post office. You can't imagine me working at the post office. But I was going to do it to provide for my wife, right? We were living in a tiny little house. We were barely making ends meet. We were young. And my dad brought me by the recruiters and just asked me if I'd go out and do the PT event with them. And I fucking crushed this PT event. And just seeing the Marines in their dress blue Charlies, so the dress blue trousers, but with their khaki shirt on and their medals and such. They were just so sharp and they had such pride about themselves and the way they conducted themselves. I thought then, I want to do this. I don't want my life to slip away without me doing this.
Yeah, it'd be a massive regret. And I get people at my age turn around at me and goes, wish I could have done that. And I say, it's a bit late now, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The opportunity's gone.
That's right.
And I think a lot of opportunity gets missed because young people don't see that. I do a lot of stuff for recruiting now.
Yeah,
and I say, you can't be what you can't see.
So
you've got to go and see that, and then you've got to go, wow. I remember taking a group of boxers in their uniforms, down to my boxing club, and the young lads down there, all inner city lads, are all going, who are these? Yeah. Oh, hey, look at them. They're all doing it. Wow. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Now they want to be, don't they?
That's
Do you know what I mean? And that's the same as what you would have had.
That's what it made such an impact, brother. And I had a little bit of a brain, so I did well on the ASVAB to get the marks about what I can go into in the Marine Corps. So they wanted me to go into avionics, which you can also get a job afterwards too, right?
Yeah.
But not me. I said, nah, but is that carrying the rifle? And is that like finding the enemy? And they're like, no, that's the infantry. And they're like, I don't think you want that. And I said, well, but isn't that the real Marine Corps? Because I'm thinking of John Basilone. I'm thinking World War II. I'm thinking of freaking Vietnam recon patrols and sniper patrols. I'm thinking, man, I'm going to regret it if I join the...
It'd be like joining the Air Force and not being a pilot.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? If I'm going to be in the Air Force, I'll need to be the geezer holding that stick and flat packing people from a distance. Line,
That's
do you know what I mean? Otherwise, I ain't interested. I don't want to play that game.
That's right. So I joined the infantry, and my wife was crying, and it was hard as hell, but I did so well. I was the honor grad and the Ironman of boot camp and then the School of Infantry, and I got promoted meritoriously. And just like, in the forces, nothing like getting slapped in the face for a good job. So instead of they put me on the shittiest guard detail. I'm just a E3, and I'm the most motivated and the most freaking fired up young Marine they got, but I'm on a shitty guard detail. And you know what? I give it the best I got. I'm polishing my boots every day. I'm working out in the squad bay because I don't get to work out outside very much because I'm doing relieving of the posts.
Yeah, you
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nothing glamorous. And then Recon came through the camp to do what we call the NDOC, which is the first day to test if you will then get a slot for selection. And it's an 8-hour, 10-hour beasting. ruck running, Bergen running, obstacle courses, and then slick run, and then to the pool. And now you're doing half an hour drown proofing with the freaking recon geezers snatching you up from behind and bringing you down, and they're testing your cool. And you've got to swim 2,000 meters. You got to do abandoned ship drills and things like this. And I'll tell you what, brother, I was so dominant on the land because I'd been kickboxing and fighting my whole life and did my road work my whole life.
Yeah. That's a bit of you. That's you anyway.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was so dominant on the land, I got to the pool half an hour before anybody else got there. It gave me a chance to collect myself, because at that time, Phil, you know, there's a difference between what you think is swimming and swimming in the forces. Yeah. There's a difference between, there's a big difference of playing in the pool and swimming with camis and boots on and treading with the rifle over your head, and then having geezers taking you down. Yeah. And you know, I was seeing seasoned Marines, snipers and platoon commanders, infantry platoon commanders, running for the side of the pool, and
they can induce complete panic in some people.
And then they're out. And then they're out.
Done.
So I made it through, brother, and I got a slot to go to the East Coast. And our old recon school, the original one, was ARS, Amphibious Reconnaissance School in Virginia, and we had all of the amphib in Virginia Beach, and then we trained out in the hills and the soft mountains. Out there in the veg, all this greenery that you have out here, and a ton of catch me, fuck me vines, tons of thorn vines, right? And so you're doing all your dead reckoning, you're doing all your land nav, you're picking your attack points, you've got to navigate through the veg day and night, picking your attack points, running a bearing, and you're under time, and then you're doing hard PT every day. And if the first 10 don't stay with the DS, with the hard freaking ruck run, the first 10 are the only ones that are safe. And then everybody else goes. And then next thing you know, the course is, you know, starts with over 100. And these are seasoned dudes. Brother, some of my teammates then were already staff sergeants, combat time, rangers, scout snipers, squared away guys. But then they got hurt. And then, you know, right back to the grunts. Back in the 90s, there was no money for a recycle program, so you didn't get to come back unless you came back to the very beginning. And if you're worth a shit, Phil, nobody would want to let you go from the unit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're really
was a big thing about selection when I did it in my day. A CO didn't want to lose. You'd be on the top third in the battalion, sort of like predominantly. And the CO's looking at you going, I've got a tour of Northern Ireland coming up. I've got a tour of Bosnia coming up. Exactly. I don't want you going there because I just lose one of my best potential junior NCOs. Do you know what I mean?
Same in our world.
Yeah,
exactly
absolutely.
The same in our world. And it was just such a privilege to be there. And similar to your selection, it's all about you and your desire. There's not much teamwork. Matter of fact, everybody's excited for you to fucking fail. The DS don't give you no chuck-ups. And you're just being clinically watched and worked and watched.
Yeah, you've got to want to be there. But that's what it's designed to do, work out whether you actually want to be there.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? Because if you don't, you'll be given every opportunity to throw that hand in. Like, do you know what I mean?
So true.
But when I got to the jungle, I mean, the hills was ridiculously just laborious, day in, day out, monkey on your back, up and down the hills, feet falling apart, the whole thing. When I got to the trees, it was that and more, but now I'm soldiering.
Yes.
So now I've got a 203 and I'm like, fucking hell, I'm the fucking man. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, jeez.
You're patrolling.
So all that other hardship to me, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I'm a fucking operator now. Do you know what I mean?
What I love about you, Phil? This is what I love about you, Phil. You're the only man I've ever known from our SAS brothers and our SBS brothers, because I know a lot through Foxy, Billy, Chris. And we got a couple on my Force Blue team too. They all say, fuck, when we got to the jungle, it was horrendous, horrible. You're the first man that said, fuck, now I got a weapon in my hand.
I'm the geezer.
This is what I want, man. And that's that energy. That's that positive mental attitude. And it's interesting. It's interesting kind of razor's edge. You have to be pragmatic and sometimes a hard cunt for discipline. But the other piece is, if you don't have that positive mental attitude, operations and the grind day to day is going to wear you down. And then once you're short-tempered and you're now thinking about your problems, you're not being proactive out there, and then the team falls apart. all of our guys are that perfect balance of hard cunt and super happy. Both. Because you got to have that positive mental attitude. How many times have we been on just training actually, most of my training operations were much harder than combat. Where they always put us on E&E, because, we're Recon Marines, so always doing recce and sniper work.
Yeah.
And then direct action too. But primarily Recon is where you build your patrolling, build your observations, build your discipline, because it ain't very fucking glamorous.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing urban or you're doing a green side or you're doing black side.
Yeah, I think there is a perception about SF. It's glamorous. It's not. It's a lot of slog. It's a lot of hours for very little face-to-face time. Do you know what I mean?
So true.
You know what I mean? And
you're
it's like
building targets for weeks, months.
Yeah.
You're behind glass.
Yeah.
You're burning your freaking eyes out, and then you're freaking pissing on yourself because you can't leave your hide. You can't leave your hide. You just worked your ass off on building the hide. And you and your buddy are in there, and you just piss on him while you're laying next to him because he's on the scope and you're on the fucking gun.
Yeah.
Boy, it teaches you that discipline.
Yeah, there's nothing glamorous about that, is there?
Does your audience ever think, like, when you're in filth, mud because it's pouring rain and you can't move, you got to stay there, and the fog coming from your heat is fogging up your optics, and now you're seeing the fucking bad guys walking around and you're trying to collect on them and give them traffic on the radio and make sure your dope's good on the gun, and there's mud all over your fucking radios, mud everywhere. It takes
and you've not eaten hot food for a fucking week. You've not had a brew, you've not had any nicotine. You've had completely,
you know what I'm saying?
Everything's been against you for weeks.
And you could want to say,
at the drop of a hat, you might have to jump out and do something about this in a minute.
That's right. And if you lose your cool and you get frustrated about the mud and about losing your target, and you got to reacquire him, or you got freaking prickly heat burning your back, or you're fucking freezing on.
If you're gonna deal with the big things, you got to forget about the little things.
That's right,
because it pales into insignificance. You know what I mean? Oh dear, my foot hurts. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So what? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
The big things inbound. I'm like, no, I'll worry about that. You know what I mean? I'll do something about this.
That's the real shit.
Yeah.
That's the real thing about our world, and it takes a special type of guy to do it. It takes a guy that's got passion to do it. They got to love it. Yeah,
that's what that selection is designed to see. Are you going to be able to do that or not? Right. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a bit late to find out when you're halfway into some territory that you probably shouldn't be in if you're not of that mind. Do you know what I mean?
You're exactly right. It's very interesting you mentioned that. If you get a chance, Phil, I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but how I got in the TV business, movie business, is that HBO made a miniseries called Generation Kill. It's the true story about my team, my platoon leading the invasion in 2003. I already fought in Afghanistan and Pakistan in 2001.
Yeah.
But some of my older teammates, they've been in Bosnia, they've been in Haiti, even Somalia. So seasoned older cats, like we all are. In the, I'm sure when you came in, they were probably cats from Falklands and shit.
There's guys who've done all sorts of stuff. You know what I mean?
Saying?
And you're looking back, going, "Wow."
Yeah, totally. So when I was a young freaking squatty, I was just always in awe and always trying to do my best. So we get tapped on the shoulder by General Mattis to lead this thing because I worked for him. He was in charge of the MU, Marine Expeditionary Unit. So as maybe your UK audience doesn't know this, but as we speak right now, we've got two Navy armadas, one in the Mediterranean, one in the Far East. America does.
Yeah.
And we've got a whole contingent of Marines ready to rock up.
And that's from top to bottom, from recon all the way down to gate guard.
A battalion of infantry, fucking artillery, jump jets. We had Harriers in my day. Early days was Harriers still. And all kinds of rotary.
That's right, because the Marine Corps is literally a self-sufficient corps, isn't it? You have your own air assets, the whole thing.
Everything, so that we're a one-shop stop. We can go in together without having to coordinate with anybody. You know how hard it is to coordinate with other forces.
Tri-service and all that sort of stuff.
You see what I'm saying? Even amongst maybe even your own Army and your own Royal Marines, it's sometimes hard to coordinate. Now imagine you're dealing like with September 11th happens, and I go straight in there to Pakistan and then to go take Kandahar. We've got Aussie SAS, we've got Brit SAS, we've got Dev, we've got Recon, we've got another SEAL platoon that was on ship with me, and then we got Air Force Pararescue, we got Green Berets, and only a little bit of all of us. There's probably only 100 fighters.
Yeah.
But we coordinate. You know what? There's something to be said about that too. We're really awesome as a big brother team. I've worked for many other militaries contracting and doing counterterrorism and such. I've never worked with a baseline of professionalism and knowing your NATO formats, knowing your 9 lines. I could talk to my Brits, my Auss, my freaking my Green Berets, or my SEALs, and we're all on the same sheet of music because we're sharing assets.
Yeah.
And that's what we did, brother. It was just so rad. I did well, and then we're gonna do this invasion.
So this is the story on HBO, yeah?
Yes, and you'll dig it. And you know what? It's not glamorous. It's mostly funny because you know how we laugh and take the piss because we have to. Because we're in carnage, brother. And you know,
that was one of Sterling's ethoses, a sense of humour.
Yeah,
You know, a man without a sense of humour is a lost man, isn't it? You know
So
what I mean?
true.
How can you not? You know what I mean?
So
You've
true,
got to,
brother.
and you've got to find humour in everything you do. Do you know what I
Yes,
mean? It's
bro.
one of those stepping stones to getting you out of the shit sometimes.
That's right. That's right. That gallows humor is really
Yeah.
a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And it's very effective. Sometimes the outsiders don't get it.
You won't get it. You won't get it. I'll give an example sometimes of one of the sergeant majors in Sierra Leone, dead body hanging off on a pile of batteries like that, car batteries, right? He's splattered all over it, head half gone, guts hanging out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A pretty gruesome sight.
Yeah.
And the sergeant major says, "Get him off of there before he ruins his clothes." You know what I mean? At the time, that's funny. Now, perhaps if you're watching, even looking in now, some of the people watching video, that's not funny, Phil. Well, it was at the time. I'm telling you. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, brother. Yes, brother. You know, I hear that. You know, there's a big festival. It just got finished up in the U.S. It's called Burning Man, where they listen to trance music and like they do ecstasy and dance and do Burning Man, right? Well, one of my teammates says, "I've been to the original Burning Man." Because our Cobras were running screening missions for us as we're chopping our way to Baghdad, and any vehicle on the road is cleared hot, and they're hitting these vehicles, and this vehicle gets blown up, and this old boy's on fire, and then he gets out into the street and he's crawling a little bit, and then he freaking expires. And then so as we're driving up past it, you know, he's like charcoal, and then some skin, and then like flesh, and then just a little skin left on his fingers. And my buddy, you know, in those days we had computerized cameras and stuff, but that was for the job. So we carried little disposable cameras.
Yeah.
So he took a snappy picture, and he says, "I've been to the original Burning Man," and they're all sharing their Burning Man stories on Facebook. So he puts it, and they're like, "You savage!" He got banned from Facebook, but there you go. Yeah, there you go. So that's after fighting there, then coming back, and then we heard of a little town called Fallujah that was kicking off.
Yeah,
so
Fallujah
I had
was
to
big
go
time
back to
kicking off,
Fallujah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
I was an instructor by then. I was a DS, but they said, you know, "Rudy, we need you to go back and take a young team because you know, some of the guys had moved up, and we needed some tough young kids to go back out and fight." And that was the bloodiest I'd ever done. Fallujah and Ramadi during that time. It was heavy, brother. It was hectic. It was actually it was a special forces soldier's dream. There was so much going on, and the rules of engagement were simply this: hostile act or hostile intent. If someone if you say he's got hostile intent, if you're taking orders and you see this cat on a cell phone, or at night, 3 vehicles together, smoke them. At night, 5 men together, smoke them. I'll tell you what, it worked in our benefit to keep us alive. And
so these are the things that normal people don't understand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But if you want to be in a town like Fallujah, you can rest assured you ain't there doing anything good. Do you know what I mean? Especially not when it's kicking off like Chinese New Year.
That's
do you know
right.
what I mean? You ain't there for the scenery, and you certainly ain't there for the pork pies. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? You're there because you're up to no good, isn't you? Do you know what I mean?
You get what I'm saying. And you know, and now, and I had a great class from some SAS and Royal Marines in Kuwait before I went to Fallujah on how the IRA operated and how to think like a terrorist.
Yeah.
4 terrain countdown for IEDs, vehicle-borne IEDs, suicide bombers, and they trained us for 3 weeks. And it was very, very effective of how to notice something that doesn't seem right, and then you realize it's a marker.
The presence of the abnormal and all that sort of stuff, do you know what I mean? And that's what you're looking for all the time, do you know what I mean?
And then when
in Northern Ireland in the day, it'd be as simple as a street with a load of windows open when it was cold. the chances are a bomb's going to go off. Do you know what I mean? We know that now. Do you know what I mean? We're looking for stuff like that all the time. Do you know what I mean?
You were teaching us that, and it saved our lives.
When you start itching, you're scratching away and thinking, there's something wrong. Do you know what I mean?
That's
stupid,
right,
do you know
brother.
what I mean?
That's right. I'd say it, and I saw a little a plastic. There was trash everywhere.
Yeah.
But there was a piece of trash up in the tree.
Yeah.
Like somebody had
to put
that. Yep. And then I said, "Where's the vantage point to see that?" And then sure enough, those motherfuckers were set up.
Line of sight, it'll have a line on it, or it'll have a sniper on it, or it'll have...
Exactly. And then we looked around, and then there's some disturbed earth. Boom, we backed off. Brought in EOD, of course. It was a fucking big IED, freaking 155. And, it was great training, and it saved lives. But it was hectic. We were doing overt patrolling during the day, covert patrolling at night, sniper missions, direct action, SIGINT to see who's talking, and then interrupting their OODA loop, and then hitting bomb makers, and then processing their computers. We were doing everything. There was so much war going on, and everybody was involved.
It's like the Disney of SF.
Yeah, brother.
Everything's happening.
Yeah, brother. Billy was there at that time, too. And we remember some of because we've gotten to be so close, some of the same operations. He was in this zone. I remember hearing that some Brits were doing some stuff here. It was Billy and his cohort. And you were in Ramadi. I remember the Trojan horse missions that I heard about, because I dressed up as a Turkish laundry worker, or when they built up the bases, they'll bring in foreign nationals to work there, and then put them off camp to live. And then so the insurgents started kidnapping and killing them and cutting off their heads. And so all of us Latino guys disguised ourselves as Turks or as Pakistanis, wear the dish dash and the shemag, and we'd be picked up in taxi cabs, the the white little taxi cabs with the orange panels.
Yeah.
But we had it reinforced with armor. We've got comms underneath our shit. We got low profile plate carriers and little choppy sub guns. And then so we started drawing out the bad guys, because we didn't want to kill civilians, brother. And the fact is, though, when you're doing war, especially in an urban environment, you're going to kill civilians, but we did everything we could to not do it.
Yeah.
So we want to draw them out and hit them. And what's so interesting, Phil, the first people we were hitting and killing were Iraqi police that we'd equipped and trained.
So they literally turned over.
Yeah, brother. And I was like, man, there's no fucking good guys out here. So I'm like, well, if there's no good guys, then my job is to be as lethal as possible so that myself and my 4 men get home alive. Yeah. And then my men went on to do other great things. Some are firefighters and family men. Some are in Delta, CAG. A few retired from MARSOC. We did so well fighting in those early years. Recon was then turned into MARSOC, Marine Special Operations Command. So now, because the Brits, some of the Brits talk so much shit about me about Tier 1. Motherfucker, you don't know. Marine Corps is Tier 1, and on top of that, of 300,000, there was only 300 men like me. And then from our success, now we're read in and have that big SOCOM budget.
No, which is great. And, so we do have this thing in the UK where if you're not SAS or SPS, you're not Tier 1.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're outside of that. But you're right. If you are picked from a massive... It's a totally different deal in the States, because you've got so many more people.
Yeah, that's right.
But the numbers are significantly almost the same, aren't they?
Yeah,
I mean, if you looked at it in percentages, the percentages are the same, aren't they?
1% or 1%.
Because there is only a few of those people are going to go to that thing and be able to do well at that.
That's right, 1% or 1%. And... And again, it reminds me a lot of the ethos in the early days when we look at the photographs here of the early days of SAS. You guys made it all happen on your own. That's the Marine Corps. We've got it all together. Yeah. We're not going to count on anybody else, and we're going to make it happen on our own. And that can-do attitude really serves us well. After my second enlistment, I was starting to what I would now... I was experiencing PTSD, is what I would now see as PTSD.
Did you notice yourself going downhill, or did somebody notice it in you?
I didn't notice. My wife did. I didn't notice that I was harder, that I was meaner, and that I was short-tempered with anything that had to do with the civilian world. I didn't notice that. Yeah. But she did. And I was quick to fight on the street now. Never before. I had this strange feeling. I didn't want to be dominated in any way. But that means that even in the civilian world, I thought it was still war. in a sense.
Yeah.
Like even the grocery store or a parking space. If somebody was an asshole to me, it felt like if somebody from another squadron kicked off at you, or you know what I'm saying, you're like, hey, motherfucker.
It's fucking liberty.
Yeah, you get like every day when you guys are on the piss. You see what I'm saying? And so I poured myself into work. I started coaching kickboxing and boxing and doing some...
So I found, I ended up in a whole heap of shit once, and, you know, I ended up, you know, wrong side of a prison cell and all that sort of stuff, do you know what I mean? It was the boxing when I came out that actually turned my life around.
Yeah, bro.
Because there were people there,
yeah.
You could experience all the stuff you want to experience. You could train hard, you could fight hard.
Yeah.
You were never going to be the best,
yeah.
But you could sure damn fucking try. Do you know what I mean? And I love that.
That's right, brother. You could mix it up. You could be in the arena again.
But the most important thing was people could take you to those levels and not worry about stuff. Do you know what I mean? So you again found this purpose in life where you could actually go and have a physical, proper.
Brother, it's been my medicine. It's been my medicine my whole life. I still train. You know, even on the way here, I've got my rubber bands and stuff. Yeah. So even in the cab, I train. It's because. It's not just for the looks, brother. It's not that. It's because I'm going to come out here with Big Phil, and I'm going to represent the Marine Corps and Recon and MARSOC, and I'm going to be a guest of the SAS. I'm going to have my blood. I'm going to have my energy. You know, you get tired traveling. I've been traveling all over the world for the last 4 or 5 months straight.
Yeah.
And when I start pumping that blood, I get my blood back in my brain. I get excited again, and I just like to be ready. And it's my medicine, because I did fall into alcohol, and brother, I fell hard into drugs.
Well, that's the personality, isn't it? Because, you know, every arse that gets put in front of me, I'll kick it as hard as I can.
That's right.
So if it's a drinking arse, guess what? It's getting kicked.
Right.
If it's any arse that gets put in front of me, I'm kicking it. Do you know what I mean?
You're right.
You know, so if I throw myself at something, and I did throw myself into drink the same as you,
yes.
I'm fucking throwing myself in there. I'm not just going to go and have a couple. Do you know what I mean?
Brother,
I'm going to have how many drinks in you, Phil? All of them. Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
it. That's
right.
I mean?
And then I'll have one for the road.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But that road's a highway. It's a long one.
And as much as it can be a really good thing sometimes, it can also be a really bad thing, can't
That's
it?
right.
You know what I mean? I've learned that now. Do you know? But it took me a long time. It took me a long time to realise that.
Me too. And you know, I've been through some hard stuff recently too. I had a breakup, been rinsing the tabloids, all this bullshit. But you know what? The Rudy Reyes of 8-9 years ago, after I got in Hollywood, and I thought, Phil, I was projecting the same love and the passion and the respect and the trust that we have in the forces. I was projecting it to everybody in my life.
Yeah.
They didn't have the same values, brother.
It doesn't come back, mate. It doesn't come back. When I first, you know, look what happened to me at Sky News, you know, I got completely stitched up. Channel 4 pulled the rug from underneath me.
I'm with
the
you.
ideas were stolen, all that sort of stuff.
With you.
There was no loyalty, there was nothing, do you know what I mean? And I'm doing exactly the same as you. I'm throwing everything I've got at everything, and I'm getting nothing back.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, brother. So I got hard into the drinking and then the drugs hard, because I was just kind of... I wanted to numb myself about how fucking useless I felt. The truth is, I felt useless, brother.
Yeah.
Thank God I got Matt DeMeo here. I got a few of my Recon brothers and a few of my Marine Corps brothers and my SEALs, and a few good folks that stood by my side and told me the truth and stood by me.
I think that's massively important as well. That's something you don't get, especially in the sort of like movie industry and the media world. Well done, Phil. What a wanker.
That's
well
right.
done, Phil. Do you know what I mean?
When you're on the up.
If I'm being a wanker.
That's right.
If I'm being a wanker, Billy phoned me up. Phil, you've been a wanker. What are you doing that for?
That's right.
Cheers, Billy. He was the only one who phoned me up and said, Phil, you're fucking wrong there, son. Do you know what I mean?
That's right, brother. That's right.
If I'm being wrong, tell me.
Yeah.
Don't massage me, or don't just sort of like tell everybody else I'm a wanker.
That's right.
And smile at my face. Fucking tell me. Do you know? I want that.
Yes, because we want to improve, don't we?
Absolutely. I want to do something about it.
I'm not done living life, brother. I'm still fucking going. I'm still improving, brother.
Yeah.
So my boys that cared, the few that are loyal to me, cared about me, and they'd have to pull me aside. Listen, Rudy, you know, you got a temper problem. Listen, Roots, you're on the edge right now, and we care about you, and we want to see you turn it around. And by the grace of God, and because I went back to sport, I went back to my training, got myself together, and then I started doing what I've always loved doing, getting a team together. And that's when I started Force Blue. You know, I rebuild coral reefs and do ocean conservation with other warrior veterans from around the world. I've got SAS, I've got Royal Marine Commandos, I've got SBS, I've got Marine Corps, Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, I've got SEALs, I got pararescue, I got Recon, I got everybody together. And now our jobs are hard underwater, right? And we're using our combat dive skills to now rebuild and create instead of destroy. And the work that we do is challenging, and it requires the same kind of love of planning that we did. You know, we get the freaking the squad together, you get your team house together, and now you get the warning order. Now you're going to start dirt diving a plan. Now you're doing rehearsals and you're briefing back everything, and then you're checking kit and rechecking kit, and then buddy checks, and then we're doing something difficult. Brother, my lights turned back on. A few years later, my career came back thanks to you freaking lot. The fucking Brits brought me fucking from the brink of no work. COVID hit. I just got a great little thing going in America. All that went away. I don't know how I'm going to make ends meet. Unbeknownst to me, Phil, there was a program called Once Upon a Time in Iraq that I had worked on. The documentary filmmakers had been interviewing me for years and then sat me in front of camera for 3 hours. And that documentary won the best documentary at the BAFTA.
Wow. Okay.
So the Brits, the production people, all my forces people were always fucking there for me. But you know, us forces people, we've only recently started finding our feet, right? You know, we're the type of guys that will give the shirt off our back, and no matter what kind of pain we're in, we're going to ask you, are you okay? And if we haven't eaten in 3 days, if we get something, we're going to make sure you're fed first. That's the kind of guys we are. So when we need help, we don't know how to ask for it. The program did very, very well. The producers are like, man, that guy's got some freaking energy. Oh, he did Generation Kill. Oh, he's done survival TV, and he's in good shape. Let's bring him on over to the course. I had no idea, and I went through 3 interviews, and I came back to work on SAS when nobody was working. It was in the middle of COVID. And the first one was in Jordan, and I did civilian and then celebrity. It did so good that Fox in America bought it as well. So my British brothers and sisters from Minnow Films, they do both productions. We do them back to back.
Yeah.
Myself, Billy, and Foxy, and Chris, and Q, we do them back to back, brother. And there's something also I love about it. It's fucking hard, bro. Whether we're in the freaking jungles of Vietnam or hot ass freaking Jordan or in the coldest winter I've ever had is summer in Wales. All right, we're out there fucking.
It's honky, man.
And so we're working hard. We're planning. You know, the brains on that Billy and Foxy, man, those guys got experience, brother. Because we build the course, and takes a ton of rehearsals. The nature of the work is dangerous. You see all the helicopter work and amphib work we're doing, and we're doing the safety swimmer and safety diver work too. I love it. It makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something, and it's been very successful both in America and the US.
It's done well. It's done really well. It's good to see, brother, as well.
And it's giving us a platform about what makes the military so special to us, and it's about the brotherhood. It's about the respect. It's about the humility. It's about the courage under fire. And we're inspiring a whole new group of young people. And the older generation, Phil, the older generation that respects the military, they love it. They love... You know, my buddy Matt has been here in the UK for the first time. And brother, I show up in Birmingham first, and the little old ladies were at the coffee shop in the airport coming to take photos. The police come and take photos. We can't walk 5 steps before young people or old people.
Yeah.
Or
I think that's the biggest thing for me, and the stuff I do now, is the fact that I'm inspiring people who were in the same position I was in 40 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, they're now, I'm getting letters off kids who are going, I'm passing out, Phil, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I've just become this, I've just become that. Yeah. And I'm so proud of that, do you know what I mean? Because I think for me, sod your paychecks, couldn't care, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But when I get a young kid, I'll give you an example, a young kid says to me, I was at his passing out parade, I could see he wants to talk to me, and he said, Phil, I've got to thank you. I said, what for? He said, well, you sent a video to my dad anonymously, 3 years ago, telling me to sort myself out at school, and there was other stuff to do outside of this and that, and he said, you inspired me to join the military. He said, no, here I am, I'm a paratrooper. And I'm like, I was nearly fucking crying.
I'm with you, brother. It's so special. It's so special. You know what? I just got this message earlier in the week. Lovely lady from out here in the UK, and she was born with cleft palate. Yeah. And she's done 20 surgeries, and she loves watching the show because she sees how strong and how courageous we are, and how that we can always, as Billy says, always a little further. Yeah. And it's given her the strength to keep going. And she wasn't. she had to go through these surgeries. You can't imagine what she's feeling, especially as a young person.
Yeah.
Because how everybody judges you the way she looks and the way we look and such. And she's got the courage to be herself and to be strong. And she's working her fizz and she's working her self-confidence. And I said, you're a hero. You're a freaking warrior. God gave me these muscles and these bones and this brain to go out there and fight. And I was lucky to live. And you've been fighting from the very beginning, young lady. So you're my fucking hero. I was out fucking tears too. So this kind of inspiration, and it's just awesome. And I know that there's also been some flack back and forth about our military programs because you see some of our tactics and you see some of our TTPs, or tactical training procedures. While that is true, and especially the Brits are very careful about not revealing trade secrets and not speaking specifically about operations. They pump me for a lot more because in America it's not the same thing, and I can be more specific when I do my master interviews about certain operations or certain targets. But what impact we're making for people to be healthier, to take on mind, body, and spirit health, to especially young men get their head out of their ass and start freaking believing in something.
I think it's important nowadays.
It's awesome,
too many people living in a screen, just
That's
staring
right,
at it
brother.
all day. Do you know what I mean? You want people out and about, cutting around. There's more to it, isn't there? Do you know what I mean?
There is. Yeah, there is, bro. It's been awesome, and it's still just beginning. We just did another one with some really, really wild characters as guests and recruits, and it's going to open up other markets to us. And think about us, us brothers. We thought we made great money in the military. Shit. I'm looking at like I deposed and fucking toppled regimes and leveraged trillions of dollars in fucking economy for about 60 grand a year, right?
This has always been the argument as well. So they always say about SF pay. You volunteered to be there. It says volunteer on your medals. Like, do you know what I mean? You volunteered to be there. So don't fucking moan about your money. Like,
that's right. And
they've always said that to us.
And then in forces, we'll get our demo pay, dive pay, jump pay, and tax-free when we're fighting. Again, I thought, man, I was balling, I was fucking great.
Yeah, you are compared with the rest of the Army or the rest of the Marine Corps.
That's right. And then you get into movies and TV, Phil. And then when I'm pretending to do war on a movie or like Generation Kill, and in between takes, by the way, I kicked ass teaching and training these actors. They were fantastic. And then when you watch this show, you're going to say, that's the most authentic show ever done about real military life. We did such a great job. We had real weapons. We had real Humvees that we built. We did it all right. But still, in between takes, the nice little ladies come by with a little cappuccino. I was probably making about $100,000 a month, and nobody's really shooting at me. Blank fire weapons ain't the same, dog. Right? And I'm like, wait a second, and then it kind of switched me on, brother. I come from very humble beginnings, and it's my nature to serve and to give. I'm not a material person.
No.
I bought a car. I got my first car in the last 15 years. It's a $4,000 freaking 2010 Hyundai, champagne color, not the Mr. Cool Guy car. I got a little house with my rent's only $700. I keep it small. I save my money, and I've got my new business, New War Productions, my production company. I'm building something now. And when I saw there was so much money being made in the glamour and grit and the tough guy world of military movies and TV, I said, what the hell? These people are not out there sucking it up like we are. I got to find a way to bring my people into this world. Yeah. Because we're the hardest workers. We work as a team. In movies and TV, you're always behind schedule. You're always over budget. And it's always stress because somebody's hurt, injured, or sick. And you got to make it happen, just like in the forces. I love working on SAS and Special Forces. I love doing movies and TV because so much of it is just like being in the forces. It's hard work. You're under stress. And at the end of the day, the mission's got to get done. And now that's what I'm doing. I'm providing very well for my family, giving opportunities to my two children that I never had. And I want to build something forward. And, short time alive, long time dead.
Yeah.
I want to be remembered that I did something with my life.
Yeah. What is the future for you? You're building a company. Where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years? What's the end game? Or not even the end game. What's the progression?
Yeah. I'm still doing action hero stuff, and I love it. But brother, when we're doing Who Dares Wins, you're only one injury away from it being over. Breaking the leg, snapping the arm, separating the shoulder. Yeah. And we don't heal as fast as we used to. noticed,
tell me about it, mate. Tell me.
I'm with you, brother. So, I had a great brother, a SAS brother, last night. I won't say his name. Senior ranking guy. I know you know the guy. Tight friends with Billy. Great shape, physical. And he's like, mate, you fuck the bands. Start throwing around that iron. And I said, mate, I'm 53. I'm doing the bands, I'm doing the yoga, I'm doing the calisthenics because I can, and doing the kickboxing, especially the kickboxing, Phil, because if you can keep kicking your legs, you have the mobility.
Yeah.
So
My mobility is pretty poor,
I'm just trying to keep this thing working. So eventually, I'd like to be producing things and bringing the new kids on the block up. We've got wonderful men and women in uniform that are really keen. And they've got a lot to share too.
They've got a lot to share, yeah.
I'd
Absolutely.
like to bring them up, brother.
Yeah, no, nice.
And with what I'm doing with Force Blue, it keeps getting bigger. We're doing operations in Indonesia, in Japan, all over our country, and it's an international force. I think it's an incredible model of what can be done in the veteran community when we put our hearts and minds together and get back to what made us special in the first place, which is teamwork and sacrifice and the love for our team and our family together. We're doing amazing, brother. We've been sponsored by the NFL. We've been sponsored by this grocery store called Publix. Now the NHL is interested in coming on. We started with nothing, just like I'm sure Force Radio started very, very humble. And when you bring out the good ideas, all the powerful rich people say, hey, great idea, mate. Let me know when you get it up and running. And we're like, shit, we ain't got no money to get up and running. Somehow we make it work.
Yeah, which is, we've been plugging away at this. The numbers are going up, the things are getting better, exposure's getting more, bigger companies are coming on board.
Exactly, brother. You're hitting a tipping point. Brother, people know you now. It's awesome. I think, again, it's that love of getting a mission accomplished. I want to keep accomplishing missions with my best friends.
And the thing is, me, if it was easy, they'd all do it. I don't want to do easy things. Do you know what I mean? I've never done easy things. People have always said I've always done things the hard way. Like, do you know what I mean? And I should continue to do so, I expect.
Yeah, me too. And I want my kids. I spend a lot of time with my kids in between missions. I want them to know their father.
There is a trade-off of all this sort of stuff, and you do spend an extraordinary amount of time away from the ones that you love. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I always say, with me now, I'm older. I don't have enough time on this planet for the people I love, let alone the ones I don't. So I don't chase people anymore. I don't go fighting anymore. I'm not interested. If you wrong me, well, fuck you. Do you know what I mean? Because my effort is the people that I love, obviously. Now,
that's
do you know what I mean?
Brother. Oh, it's everything.
Whereas before, you bumped me or slightly looked at me funny, I'll come after you. Do you know what I mean?
Or the chicks. Or the chicks. You were chasing the chicks.
No, I ain't got enough time on this planet for any of that bullshit anymore. Like, do you know what I mean? No interest.
Have you felt any of this too, Phil? Because now you got notoriety and you're kind of famous. Remember, I reached out to you on Instagram. Why? Because I saw a really humble and smartly done documentary on SAS, and you were featured in there.
Yeah.
And you were talking about some action in Africa. You didn't say specifically where, and you just came across as a legit dude. Now, there's a lot of people in our veteran space and even in our special forces space. They talk a lot, but they haven't done a lot. But you came across, I could tell, look in your eyes, that this dude's real. Let's see who this guy is. And, but now that you got a little fame and notoriety for the good reasons, sometimes you don't know someone's intentions when they come at you, because everybody seems to be like they want to be your best friend, or they want to.
I've had it. I mean, Channel 4, it's no secret. SAS Who Dares Wins was my idea.
Was it? I didn't know that.
Ripped out of my hands by Channel 4.
Wow. And,
do you know what I mean?
You don't get the credit.
I never casted, never give the credit. I don't care. Do you know what I mean? But it was that was one of the things that sort of like said to me, wow, Phil, you're going to have to watch your back now. Do you know what I mean? Because they Hunted and SAS Who Dares Wins were both my ideas.
Wow, brother.
Written, I can prove it. You know, I've seen it. When I went at them to interrogate them why, we had a similar idea at the same time, Phil. Really?
Very similar. I had a situation with it.
Do you know what I mean? You never. Come on.
I've been there too, brother, in America, and I'd given up a few show ideas that we'd written up, me and my little team.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, I see it being casted and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, hang on a minute.
Wait a second. Yeah. So,
and you can't protect an idea. Do you know what I mean?
It's not worth it. And this is what I've learned. The big bros in that world have way more money and stronger lawyers.
Well, they know
and they've
that,
got a whole freaking system behind them. So this is what we can do, Phil. I think you're already switching on to it, and you know this. We, as insurgents in entertainment, just be so excellent at what we're doing.
That's a good way of putting it. We are insurgents in it.
Insurgents,
even Sky. Sky let me go eventually. another story, but I think I was pretty hard done by. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But they probably thought this man's never going to have a platform, and they tried to turn me off.
Yeah, brother.
Well, hey, guess what? I have got a platform,
You keep getting
and it's growing,
bigger and better
it's
every
growing.
week.
Do you know what I mean? It's bigger and bigger.
Yeah, brother.
You
So
know?
that's what, so if we look at it that way, that we're
So
the
we have
insurgents.
infiltrated, haven't we? We have gone somewhere where we weren't supposed to be.
That's right.
Which is actually what we were meant to do anyway. I was put on this planet to do that as special forces, wasn't I?
There you go, brother.
Go somewhere I'm not supposed to be.
That's right,
and
brother.
cause carnage.
That's right. That's right, brother. You see what I'm saying? When I think about it that way, I say, you know what, Rudy, you're doing everything right.
Yeah.
All the doors that close, that's giving you an opportunity for you to go up, over, around them.
Exactly, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it's
Don't
all right.
accept it's shut.
Yeah.
Find another way to go in.
That's right. And if we keep with that positive mental attitude, people just want to be around us.
Yeah.
When you're an asset at work, when you're an asset, brother, no matter how many people are motherfucking you, you're going to keep getting more work because you are an asset and you're great to work with. And us in the forces, brother, we got an energy that nobody else has got. We got an energy. And when we point that in the right direction, there's nothing that we cannot accomplish.
No, you're right. You're right. Listen, Rudy, I could talk to you for fucking hours, mate. I really could, but we are running a little bit short of time on this one. Hopefully, look, you've now become a friend of the station.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully, you'll come on again.
I'll come back
and there
again.
is lots of stuff. You know, we're doing this storm tour at the moment. We're visiting serving soldiers. We're trying to drum up a bit of good feeling around the armed forces and all that sort of stuff. And I hope you become part of that. I really do.
I will,
All
brother, and I can't wait to promote this out on my little...
Mate, it's been great having you on board, mate. Honestly, it really has.
Hell
All right,
yeah.
nice one, buddy. All right? All right?